This is ThriveCasters.
Thriving, not surviving.
Tackling youth issues that matter to you.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of ThriveCasters. Today is actually our first live episode, so this should be streaming on Facebook and YouTube right now. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the Harry and Meghan situation, particularly the interview, but also all the background behind it, as well as our opinions. I'm Nathan, and joining me today is...
My name's Lewis.
I'm
Jed.
I'm Adam.
I'm Sophie. Hello.
Let's get straight into it then. There's no editing, so it's a bit... if we have any pauses, hiccups or anything like that, it's okay. Would anybody like to start off telling us their opinion of the whole situation? Because I'm down for a debate, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm down for a debate. Who's down for a debate?
Yep. I'm done. I'm done to kick it off. Basically, I think this whole situation is absolutely... I honestly think it's astonishing how people can take something like this too far, because I feel like as soon as somebody that's like part of minorities, part of a minority group is like introduced to the royal family, then everyone has to voice their opinions on it, to the point where Meghan is literally getting death threats, and her baby is getting death threats because the baby is going to be coloured. I think that is absolutely disgusting in every single way. I can't even describe it.
I think it's the protection as well, to be honest. You know, there's no Why is there no protection for Meghan, but there's protection for other certain members of the royal family that have also been in the news recently?
Because isn't it because her and Harry, when they moved to America, they got like all their protection cut off from the family, and he's got all of his money cut off as well. And I think he said that he got a little bit of money from the Queen, which is what he's going off.
So what I'm saying is, don't forget all of this stuff that's been going on in the media and other things that have been happening have been before they went to America. I'm talking about, you know, where was their protection from the media when they were doing, you know, when she was pregnant, when she
asked for it.
Oh yeah.
Can I put a point across that? If you know Prince Andrew, a few years ago he was a friend with like some next paedophile. He's still getting protection. Why is he still getting protection? He was involved in it. And then you have Meghan and Harry, who need protection from the media. They are still part of the royal family and they haven't done anything wrong. They want to live life like a normal person, not as in being in the media all the time.
Okay, to add on to that point then, my opinion is, at the moment, as it stands, I am very for Meghan and Harry. I really like the both of them and what they have done and achieved. But from what you just said, Adam, do you think if they were after the private life, the normal life, as you say, would they sign a Spotify deal? Would they sign a Netflix deal? And would they go on opera?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there, Nathan.
Yeah.
But what you've got to realise is as well, I don't think they necessarily want a private life and normal life. I don't think that's what the case is. You know, but the level of scrutiny that Meghan and Harry have been under in the English press since they've been out on a couple is absolutely like terrible. You know what I mean? Just the colonial angle that the media have come at. Like, what I saw one, and it was like something like straight out of Compton. You know what I mean? Harry's new girlfriend straight out of Compton. To me, that's racist. You know what I mean? It's all right having a normal life and wanting a normal life, or even wanting to be in the press, but to me, that's not that you don't want that. That's unnecessary. That's completely unnecessary.
Along with this, like when Meghan and Harry announced they're going to leave, like, you know, the royal institution, as in being a fully working member of the royal family. The press made this like word up called Megxit, saying like, you know, blaming Meghan that Harry has to leave the institution, and just creating a word like that is actually, you know, you can't blame just one person if a family has, you know, like agreed for them to leave the royal family, the royal institution.
Well, Harry didn't like the institution anyway from early. You know what I mean? He was always slagging off the media and stuff. So, you know, people that say, "Oh, he's spineless and he's letting a woman rule his life and this and that and the other," you could tell he didn't like the England and the British media from long ago. So
I saw an interview, adding on to your point there, Lewis, and it was like, it was worded in a way that it wasn't like blatantly said, but Harry basically stated through kind of, as I say, not blatant. He didn't blatantly say this, but it was suggested that he'd rather be in Afghanistan, pursuing with his career as a militant, than kind of be in Britain, which I thought was quite eye-catching.
well, I think the media have always stopped him from pursuing what he wants to do. You know, the media stopped him from fighting on the front line. They didn't allow him to do that. So, you know, he's always been held back by the media. So, of course, he's not going to like the media. And now he's slagging off his wife constantly every other day. He's definitely not going to want to be a part of the English cultural media, is it? In my opinion.
You don't think they should have kept it private though? Because I mean, but just you know, they should have kept it private instead of doing like a big interview. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they're just feeding the media with more stuff to say, just making it worse.
I don't think so.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's also because like Lewis was bringing up the media a lot, and I feel like what he was talking about earlier with the protection is a lot more dangerous, like especially right now, for Harry and Meghan to have no protection, especially because the media is attacking them like constantly, like sagging them off all the time. And I think this is far more than just like a racial issue, because it's very obvious that like, and there must be something. There's definitely something wrong. There's something weird going on, because it's like I was saying earlier, other members of the royal family were like caught out for being a pedo, and they still have protection. And then just because a minority is introduced to the monarchy, which hasn't been seen before in this country, now it's an issue for everyone to get on it and like threaten the baby for being coloured.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But at the same time, though, right? Yeah. All right, then let's delve into the whole what was said about the concerns about the color of the baby. I don't think that should have been said in that interview, because me personally, I think that's kind of hearsay as well. You've said that there was concerns about the baby's color, and you heard that from Harry, right? Yeah. I don't think personally that's her place to say there's flaws in what that said, because people are saying, "Oh, that shouldn't be the case," or whatever. But if two people are having a baby, right? Yeah, and it's going to be a mixed race baby, in my opinion, that conversation will come up, how dark it is, how dark or how light the color of the baby is going to be. I think that's a natural conversation that has been said. But the fact that she put concerns behind it, to me, it kind of twists it in an angle that maybe she hasn't even heard. She hasn't even been there for that conversation. So she's paraphrasing, in my opinion.
I think the fact that they said there were concerns over the colour of the baby's skin, but didn't expand on that, I think that suggests to all of us that it's kind of an issue rather than a passing comment or something that
Yeah.
maybe wasn't intended to be offensive. I think if it was something that kind of was a passing comment or not intended to
It
be
wouldn't have been brought up.
a concern, they would have stated who it is, etc., or they wouldn't have said it in the first place.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
then again, it's a word concern because it's like I still feel like as soon as it's like a minority, a colored baby being introduced, then it's an issue because like at the end of the day, personally, I think that the color of the baby shouldn't be an issue at all. Like nobody should have to worry about it. It's actually nothing to do with us because we can't do anything about it. It's not our baby, yeah. And then it's just up to the media at this point because now it's all of us sharing our opinions on it. And obviously, there's been terrible backlash because of that.
I
don't know.
think it was misinterpreted, like the thing about concerned over the baby's skin, because as Louis said, it is a normal thing to talk about. For example, if I got married to a white girl, my family would obviously say, "Oh, yeah, who's your baby gonna look like what color skin it's gonna have, and all that." That is something normal that people talk about. But Meghan either misinterpreted it or just made a big deal out of it just to get the royal family in jeopardy.
What my question is, right? Yeah, or my opinion, she wasn't there. You can't, in my opinion, you can't say, "Oh, in national, in front of everyone," right? Yeah, I heard someone said this about my baby and this, that, the other, because you wasn't there. Yeah, Harry might have told you, but it's coming. It's like Chinese whispers. And look now where we're at with it. Do you know what I mean? You don't know what was said. That's why they can't tell you who said it, because
they don't know.
Well, don't forget this. They said this interview wasn't prepared or anything. No one was prepared for the interview, so maybe she said something and maybe didn't really think it was gonna be taken that far. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but you can't really say something like that and it not be taken this far. So I don't know.
All right, then if we go with what Adam said and it was like misinterpreted, yeah, then maybe they could have use better words because it's like you can't say you're concerned about it. You can say you're curious about it if you're going to talk about it. If you're going to talk about it, then at least say like you can be curious. You shouldn't be concerned with someone's color. And like Lewis was saying, don't talk about it. She's not there.
Stay in front of the face.
I think there was a lot of in what she said. It could have been flawed, and it is flawed. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't directly say who said it. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's a bit of a cover up as well. That whole scenario there, to the fact that she also said that when she was pregnant, the constitution was changed so that Archie could never be a prince. To me, I'm thinking, why is that? Why is that being changed?
Because he has color. I think because he has color. Because like racial prejudice has been like really big, like in the world recently as well. And then it's just like these days with issues like this is when people actually start to realize it, because it's like we've seen other babies come into the royal family and everyone's like bigging it up, yeah, but like we've never seen a baby come into the royal family and get this much backlash. Like I don't see what else it could be, because like since Meghan and Harry started dating, yeah, they've been getting hate for it. Exactly. And it's like, what is it for? Because all the other members of the royal family, yeah, of the monarchy, they're not part of the minority. They're not. You know what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just a bit. It shouldn't be taken like this. And at the end of the day, as I was saying earlier, none of us actually can do anything about it, because it's not our baby. So what's it for us to go and start putting our voices online, sending them emails and death threats because we don't like the color of their baby?
The thing is, like, this is the first royal couple who have another another like ethnicity background, like because
All right
fair
then.
enough, there was Diana who did have her little affair, but we don't talk about that. We're talking about Meghan and Harry. That's the first like proper marriage with another ethnicity. And I think that's why people are getting backlash, because they're so used to getting like, you know, white people in the royal family, not actually like, you know, people from different backgrounds.
All right then. Okay then. What about, because there's also we've got to realize this is the royal family, you know, and Meghan's an actor, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've got to realize that the royal family aren't like normal people. This isn't just like a celebrity. This is the royal family. So do
Okay.
they have other privileges that maybe we're not seeing? Do you know what I mean? Like the royal family is royal for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know
Okay,
what I
What
mean?
reason?
if we're gonna talk about that, then do you think, because like you're saying they're different from us, so they have influence over us, yeah, in a way, and like do you think it could be a case of like people being scared of having a coloured like
Yeah,
leader?
but coming away from the colour thing, right? Yeah, and the race. I'm saying the royal family is royal, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are saying are going against Meghan because she's tarnishing the royal family, right? Yeah, and how they are, right? Yeah, for good reason. But the royal family is a royal family. You know what I mean? Should she be even allowed to do this? Do you know what I mean? Because royal family is what keeps Britain great, isn't it?
Why?
Yeah, but
Why?
shouldn't change because Harry decided to marry her, because like he wasn't told to marry her from any by anyone. So I mean, like he made that choice in his own, really. So I mean, if I don't know if a member of the royal family decided to get with someone of like the public, are you saying that's an issue, or like you think it's an issue?
I'm just saying that's what a lot of people have been saying. You know, that's the kind of the angle that people are coming from. You know what I mean? They're coming from you know this. The royal family is royal, and she's out here tarnishing the name, right? Yeah, and bringing the royal family down. You can't do that about the royal family because the royal family is the royal family. They're not like everyone else.
But what influence does the royal family have on a modern day Britain now?
So that brings another question: are the royal family as influential as they used to be? Is this the end for the royal family now?
I think it's brought it back up, to be honest, because I think like as the generations went by, a lot less people started just not associating themselves with the royal family. So then I feel like this has got a load of more people interested into, like even us. I didn't know that much about the royal family until now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, could it have been part of the plan?
It's
Yeah.
definitely lost significance over time because, like, as our generation is getting older, like the younger people, like people that look up to us at our young age is now, yeah, they don't know as much as the royal families, the older people in our lives do. So it's definitely lost significance, and I don't think it has that much of an influence anymore. Because if they did, then I feel like all of us would know a lot more about it. That's why not many people know about what's going on right now with like Meghan and Harry.
I think that they influence people in other countries more, really, because a lot of people come here because they're obsessed with the royal family and brings a lot of tourism into the country. Do you think that sort of thing's gonna be affected tourism? Do you think that's gonna be reduced and a
I,
negative effect on
I feel
tourism?
I feel like everyone like is keep using tourism as like an excuse to like condone and just be like, oh, let's just leave them. But I feel like we shouldn't like condone what they're doing and like the issues that they're doing just because they bring tourism in. And I know like it is a big factor and like we need to like consider it. But I feel like people like human rights and stuff and things that have gone on should come before any sort of economic Okay, you know what I'm trying to say, whatever, yeah.
Economy.
Yeah, that's it.
So what? The royal family are a bit of a novelty then, would you say? So they're not really.
Yeah.
No one's really taking them serious.
I'd
don't
say
think
that
they
they're just more
really-
of history.
I don't think they really control the country anymore because, as you see on the news, it's always the government who are making these new laws, and the Queen had no say in it at all.
So, what do you think is going to happen about the royal family in the next 50 to 100 years? Is it still going to exist?
No, you know what? They will exist, but no one will actually care about them at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think that years ago it would have been intended. There was a lot of talk on the interview about the firm, the institution, and I think it's intended that the royal family own the firm, the royal family control the firm. But to me, it sounds like nowadays, the firm, the institution, they've taken over the royal family. And the royal family are the ones that are in the public eye, and they're the ones in the background that potentially are the ones that do deserve the blame in this situation. I know the full story isn't out yet, but if there is any sort of apology needed from anyone, and it turns out Meghan and Harry are actually in the right, then I think it should be the firm that apologises. But that won't happen. It'll be their public eye. It'll be the royal family that apologises, and I think that's the problem with it.
Yeah, I get ya. So
Okay,
when
at
she
the
was
end of the
calling out
day,
for support with mental health,
yeah.
I think that's a big issue as well, and the fact that Piers Morgan just completely told her she was lying about her suffering with mental health and suicidal thoughts.
Well, Piers Morgan as well. I believe he said that Meghan always runs away from her problems, which is kind of contradictory since he walked out the studio and has completely left his show.
Okay, can I just say there is beef between Meghan Markle and Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is a bit salty because Meghan Markle blocked him on Twitter. Piers Morgan is just a bit salty about that. That's why he was going to having to go at Meghan Markle.
Well, the thing
I
is,
think they had some sort of date or something, didn't they? Like, I don't know, it was like they met in a bar and then she just never messaged him again or something.
I heard that they met in a bar and then like he wanted to do stuff and then she didn't want it, so she left and then met Harry, and then that's when like all the slander from Piers Morgan. I'm not saying this is what happened, but I don't know for sure. This is just what I've heard, and that's when all the slander started.
Well, it definitely said that she ghosted him. He definitely said that.
I don't blame her.
Rejection hurts.
Piers Morgan is
It's
a very
it's not necessary. It's not necessary, is it? Because like, why did she have to get it for? Like, because she didn't want to speak to him like that.
I think he. Don't forget the type of person that Piers Morgan is. He was always going to be against her, whether or not he went on a date with her, if that makes any sense. He was always going to be objective towards her. But I think what had happened in their history has kind of just added fuel to the fire and kind of made it because Piers Morgan, Piers Morgan, they always say he's a bully, but you can never draw him out any. You know what I mean? He never gets drawn out and he never gets put into a position where he said something outrageous. But I think this time, because there was some personal issues there, I think he kind of lost himself a little bit and got a bit personal.
There has been a launched investigation into the stuff he said because of it.
Yeah.
As well, which made him GMB. So.
But why? But why would he always be like on it? Because Lewis was saying like he's always going to be against it in a way, but why?
Because that's it. But that's who he is. You need people like that in on the media, because look at when the whole thing with feeding kids school meals. Everyone was on his side then. Do you know what I mean? When he was backing up what's his name? The health advisor. Is it David Hancock or someone like that?
Matt Hancock.
Matt Hancock. When he was saying to him, he was putting it on him. Then everyone was like, yeah, Piers Morgan. I like Piers Morgan then, but it's flipped on its head now. So you do need people like that, but I just think he got caught up in a bit of the personal drama, and kind of lost himself a little bit. Got drawn out.
I rate Piers Morgan purely for the fact that he's not afraid to say anything. He states his own opinion. Most of the time, I don't agree with his opinion, but sometimes I do. But what I don't rate him for is kind of the rudeness behind that. He always cuts people off.
I do think he has to put some kind of filter on himself just so he can,
Oh yeah,
he's not that
carried away with the whole persona that he was trying to bring out. Do you know what I mean? I think when someone's a little bit like when you feed in the ego and no one's telling you no. With like the weatherman and how he was talking to the weatherman, like talking to him even before the show where the weatherman yesterday, he was still talking to him a bit funny. Do you know what I mean? And that's because he's been allowed to have this persona and it's just been feeding the ego, innit? Do you know what I mean? And until he's got to a point where he's just said the wrong thing that can't be said. Like I think they've just said to him, look, you can either leave or you're getting sacked because you said that she's lying about her suicidal thoughts, but responsible and calm. So how's that work? What does that say about ITV? So
I think there's like 40,000 complaints as well, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, 41,000.
Definitely. And it's no go on.
The Queen did let out like a response about the racial thing. I think it was yesterday, saying that they're going to deal with it privately.
I think it's the best thing to do, really.
Yeah. And about the mental health, the thing which is really, really sus is that while she said she was having it after Archie was born, and she was living with her mother at the time, who is a mental health worker. She said she was silenced by the Queen, but she was with her mum. Couldn't she talk to her mum about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
what you're saying.
But then again, there's also a backstory that we can't assume anything like that because we don't know a backstory, like everything about it at the end of the day. So
yeah.
And also, a mum could have been a mental health worker, but it's still her mum, and that relationship with her mum is still there. If you work, they say never work with family because there's that relationship as her mum is still there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think it's quite wrong though for people to be looking faults for like, why didn't you go to her mum? Why didn't you do this? It's like no matter what she would have said or who her mum is, like it shouldn't matter. It's like if she's struggling, she's struggling. Like you shouldn't look for faults and what went wrong or whatever. Because getting help, as everyone will probably know, isn't as easy as just going downstairs and asking your mum. Like it's a long process and it's one that she should have been supported through, regardless of who else she had around her at the time.
I think he highlights a very good highlights a very big issue that we're seeing today of suicidal and mental health. It don't matter who you are and what position you're in. If certain things aren't good in your life or you're not happy in certain places in your life, then you can have these kind of thoughts. And you'd think an institution like the Royal Family would have people there on call because this could be a regular thing in the Royal Family. That mental health is a big problem.
So who is to blame for the situation? Personally, I think as it stands, I think it's the firm and the media. But both of them are kind of, you can't specifically blame one person because it's an institution, it's massive, especially the media. And it's not like you can speak to the media privately because there's different companies, etc.
I would say it's more than the press because they're the thing which is making a more of a bigger deal about things, which is causing these problems to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the media just hype stuff up which doesn't need to be hyped up to start a controversy.
It's just people are cruel, and it gets to that point because it's like the media did not have to do that because with other babies that were brought to the family, they just didn't do that with them, and with like Piers Morgan as well, he can't say to her that like no, you're not having these issues, you're not having these. How can you say that to someone? Because you don't know their life at the end of the day. It's them, it's their thoughts. So I feel like all of this with the media attacking them and Piers Morgan going through all that and saying that to her definitely has a big effect on it. I think it's both of them.
Yeah, I think in terms of blame, there's like so many like can affection goes. Like if you were to blame the media, you could say it's not really the media, it's society because people are obsessed with other people's drama and other people's problems. You know what I mean? That's how the media make money. If people weren't so obsessed with it, then maybe the media would publish positive things.
Positive things don't sell, though, does it? I suppose.
That's the issue.
All people look for is beef, and yeah.
Okay, do you think there's going to be any positivity coming out of this then?
No, there isn't. I don't think there's
Hopefully.
any positive side of it that's going to come out at the end. It's all going to be all the negativity, because that's what the press always looks for. They don't look for positivity. You don't look for the negative in people.
I think in years to come, though, something will come out of it. Something positive will come out of it. Like, for example, the whole Diana situation. Something positive has come out of that, like recently, and that's kind of more of a life lesson more than anything else. So I think in years to come, something will come out of this situation, and it'll just be a lesson. It's uncertain to say what the lesson is, but something definitely positive will come out of it in the after effect.
I don't know if anything will happen because I can tell the future, but I feel like it's something that does need to happen because at the end of the day, this is the royal family and it's pretty much the face of Britain, and they have a big influence. Like not even just us, because like other people in the world as well. So it's just like this is really important. I feel like Meghan should be accepted and the baby should be accepted into that. I think that'd be a good start. Them being accepted into the royal family without.
What if Meghan and Harry split up? What happens then? If they do,
the press is going to hype it up again. That's their job.
what do you guys think? Is Harry what is it? All right, then Meghan and Harry split up. What does Harry is he allowed back in England or what? Or is he allowed back in the family? Or
didn't they take their passports off them?
Yeah, but that's kind of something that you've got to do in the royal family.
I think if they do split up, then Harry would be allowed back in, which I think is a stupid idea because it shouldn't be that way anyway. But like at the end of the day, because it's like they didn't want to be there anymore, mainly like because of the backlash they were getting because of them being part of a minority. It's just if they did split up, it would be easier for Harry to get all of his ties back and get like
You reckon?
I don't think they're going to split up that personally.
No, not
I
now.
don't think they're going to let anyone win.
Yeah, that's a different thing because like they might not split up, we don't know, but like it's what would be better. Like, do you think it would be better for Harry if he splits up with her?
Nah, I'm just playing devil's advocate, just seeing, but nah, definitely not. It's his wife.
I think beneficially for the royal family, it will be better for them, like especially because it is like they are a big part of the country, but like beneficially for him, it wouldn't be good for him because obviously like he's been through all this already. If he didn't care about it, he would have got rid of her. by now. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I don't think they will split up because of that. But
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think. Sorry. I'll just say.
no, go.
I don't think that this might sound selfish, but I don't think that they should split up, even if that's the best thing to do. Because I think at the end of the day, if they still love each other, then why does the rest of the world matter? You know what I mean? That might sound selfish, but that's my opinion.
No, but it makes sense because you shouldn't just because you have a social platform, yeah. Like Harry was born into that. Just because he has a platform because of that doesn't mean that other people should have dictatorship over how his life works, his personal life and how that works. That's why I think they should still like be together. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why,
with
like, sorry,
no,
sorry.
sorry,
I was just gonna say that I don't know, like a lot of people are focusing on like the future and like what's gonna happen with them or whatever, but I feel like there's bigger issues at hand. Like we need to like sort the fact that all this has happened in the first place. Like obviously not looking backwards, but like the fact that like this still goes on and there's still like women are still getting scrutinized in the media for literally doing nothing. Like if you look at articles between Kate and Meghan, which regardless of what the causes or whatever, like the example in the interview was like an avocado, wasn't it? It was like Kate ate a avocado and it was like, oh, like being happy for the baby, and then Meghan ate one and it was like she was like causing deforestation and stuff. It's like stuff like that's just ridiculous, and they're bigger issues I think than they're bloody splitting up or whatever.
Are the media racist then?
Yes. I definitely think that they are.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it because like you can't like I've been saying this the whole podcast. Yeah, as soon as a coloured baby is being introduced to the monarchy, like being faced, like as a face, a representation of the country. Yeah, like it could even be something to do with the future because it's like people could be scared of like having to look up to somebody of color. Yeah, and they didn't like that, which is why they like threatened to kill him.
Is that a way to keep order then, you think?
Well, I don't know. Because it's like using threats and like bullying them off of out of their own family. I don't know. Because we haven't had the
The media takes it as good content because they know they're going to get a lot of views on it and it's going to be interacted with more, which means they're going to get more money from it.
Even though it's not correct news.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if this keeps up, then we're not gonna have like for the rest of the time. If this goes on, then like the monarchy will only be like part of the white community. There won't be like any other unless like the media starts accepting it soon, because like this could have been the opportunity to have a first coloured like leader for the country, and now that baby doesn't even have a title.
Would you say this is more about like, do you think they're more misogynistic as well against women in general? Because the news is blaming Meghan more than, you know, anyone else at this time.
Than Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, could say so. I think there's a narrative being pushed that, you know, Harry's got no spine, he's spineless. His narrative's being pushed of, you know, so I suppose so. It's taking the blame away from Harry. Definitely. It's easy to just pin it on her, isn't it, I suppose.
I don't want to put you on the spot, Sophie, but I just wanted to know what you thought from a woman's perspective, because obviously, like we've spoken about this before, like being a woman just in the world generally is difficult, and then being a woman of color is even harder. So, like, what do you think on this, like for Meghan?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both racism and misogyny, really, because I feel like whenever the media or any like sees a woman, regardless of like a powerful woman who's like Meghan's always had a voice about equality and stuff, and as she said in that interview, she was like all she's wanted to do is advocate for it, but yet she was silenced. And I feel like what it is they don't like when people speak out about things, especially not a woman. Like if this had been, I feel like if it had been Harry, like this is just my opinion, if it had been Harry just coming out like saying this, Meghan not included, like she wasn't there, would this have been taken differently? Would this have been like, oh, Harry like speaking out like he's strong and stuff like that? Whereas Meghan, it's like acting lying and it's like bossy, and like the fact that they're indicating that Meghan's bossing Harry about, it's like that's like the oldest trick in the book, like trying to play out the woman is bossing the man about, and it's like, well, Harry, like, he's like, regardless of what's going on, he's got his own voice, and I feel like if he disagreed, I don't think he would have went along with it for this long. But that's my opinion.
I know what you're saying, and this is I get what going on from that point. Harry has been saying the media don't leave him alone. He's not really don't really like England. You know, he's been saying it for years. It's not really no one's really think it's not really got much coverage. But now that's like his missus is saying that, and they're both saying that, and they can pin it on maybe a woman, a black woman at that. Then maybe you know, maybe there is a misogynistic. Well, there is not maybe there is a misogynistic view on the media. And I suppose it just. I think as well, right? Yeah, I think all of this has just proved what people have been saying about the media in England for a long time.
You think that maybe Meghan saved Harry because maybe if Harry married a white woman, he wouldn't have the opportunity maybe to leave. Do you think Meghan saved Harry?
I think she showed him a new angle. Do you know what I mean? I think it's easy to be in a bubble of, you know, the royal family and, you know, doing your royal duties. And I think she's kind of took him out of that bubble, and he's looked in from the outside. Probably some feelings that he probably had anyway have probably just been rectified by him being with Meghan.
In terms of history repeating itself, I think if you kind of look at it, obviously there's the whole Diana situation repeating itself, which Harry clearly states. But there's also something else which happened. I believe the king before our current queen, Queen Elizabeth, was George VI. And I believe his older brother, Edward, was actually set to be king, and it wasn't actually him. But the reason he wasn't is because he was marrying an American woman who had been married before and was a widow. And the royals didn't like that. So he never actually became the king in the end. So you can kind of relate that to the current situation, which kind of leads me on to my next question, which is firstly, do you think history is repeating itself? And do you think that the royal family are going off their own ways rather than kind of modernizing the whole institution?
Yeah, because like based on what you just said, then like, obviously history is repeating itself, and if it keeps on going on like this, then like the public eye will always have like authority over who rules them in a case in a way, because it's like this could have turned out different. Like, you know, the story you just told us. Whenever there's an opportunity for there to be change in monarchy, it's always like abolished, because it's just not allowed. They get rid of their opportunity to be in the throne. You know what I mean?
I also think as well, I don't think history is going to repeat itself, essentially, because I think we're also living in an era of CCTV everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything's watched, everything's in front of everything's in front of the public eye. So in terms of being able to maybe X off Meghan, that can't happen. Do you know what I mean? She's She's got her own Instagram. She's always on Instagram. Yeah, it might happen, but it's a lot harder now. You know, to do these type of things that maybe the royal family have done in the past.
I
So
think
I don't think history is going to repeat itself in that way. No.
I think the royal family and the institution need to like adapt what they believe and their the laws of the royal family. They need to like adapt it to modern day times. For example, like if you're divorced, like in the olden days, it was frowned upon to marry someone else. But now, like, fair enough, Meghan had a divorce in the past. But she should still have the right to marry whoever the hell she wants, and she chose Harry. So they're married, and that's quite frowned upon. I think that's some of the drama that is being created by the press and the royal family just to hype it up as well. But like as a whole, do we all trust the mainstream media and what they're telling us, as in everything they tell us? And do we know if it's the truth or not? Because that's questionable.
No.
Because the media is like, okay, it's gonna sound really like weird, but most of it is just fake news. It's all a lie, what we hear.
Yeah.
Say that. Could say that.
I wouldn't say a lie, I'd say a twist from the truth. More so.
But is
I
that
think
not
the
just
kind
a
of
lie, though?
coverage. Yeah, it's still a lie, but they're still reporting on something that's really happened. They're just kind of twisting the truth with it. So it's still a lie, but it's not like they're saying something that's
now,
not happened at all.
I think news has definitely changed now. I think, no one in here buys a newspaper.
Yeah,
No
but
one
still on the
really
internet.
watches it. Do you buy a newspaper?
No, but still, like on the internet, you'll still see what's in the newspaper.
But
It's still
also,
gonna be
news, I feel like news now is coming from, rather than institutions like your Mirrors and your Daily Mails and things like that. I know I get my news from Twitter, Instagram, social media. So it's less. I feel like it's less. It's less. What,
of a
what's
lie.
the word? Not monetized. It's less bias now. You haven't got anyone giving you their point of view. If you go on Twitter now and you type in Meghan and Harry, you're gonna have thousands of people's opinions, thousands of people's opinions, and whether you trust that news or compared to just your ordinary news, I think it gives you more of a chance to make up your own mind.
The thing is, you like on social media, you see inside of it, so you can pick what you want to believe out of it.
Yeah.
So I think like the social media is more trusted than the big institution of media, mainstream media.
I think you can diversify where you get your news from.
Yeah.
It's not just from one place. So if all right, then older people might get their news from the sun, the whole life, right? Yeah. So you're gonna get your news from one person. It's only ever gonna be biased. It's only ever gonna be what the sun wants you to see. Whereas if you can go on Twitter and find out the Sun, the Mirror, I don't know, Telegraph, all of these places, and find out news from Bob down the road or someone that was actually there videoing the footage that actually happened, then you're gonna diversify your knowledge and make your own idea of what's actually happened, I suppose. But then there's a lot of fake news. It's not regulated. You know what I mean? Anyone can put up on anything. Oh, I found out Meghan was lying through the whole thing. It wasn't actually her. It was a hologram. People believe it.
Okay, not gonna lie, that's something stupid to believe. Like,
people could put that on Twitter somewhere, right? Yeah, edit a picture, right? Yeah, make it all glitchy and that, right? Yeah, and boom, It's real.
The thing is, it is possible. Like at this day and age, it is possible for that to happen.
Yeah, but it's like as stupid as it sounds. Yeah, people actually believe that, and that's where the issue lies. Like that's happening anyway. That people are going out of their way to like change the story just because they want influence on other people. Yeah, it's mad.
The thing
It's
is,
insane.
it's happened in the past before. Like I think it was near Christmas time. It was a TV channel which made like the Queen's speech, but made it like use editing skills to make it look like she was saying what she was saying on Christmas Eve, which caused a lot of controversy. And I think that was on Channel 4.
There you go.
Other question.
Do you
Our
feel
older
like?
mind,
Sorry.
our older mindsets or younger mindsets, right? So who should we listen to more? Because we are all different ages. We don't know who's at but what mindset should we agree with at the moment? That's the question.
I personally think your own, really. I think you should listen to what everyone says, take advice from everyone, but sort of just like analyze what you want to believe, what you think's best. You know what I mean? Because I mean, a lot of older people, they've got the experience, they've got the knowledge, but times have changed. Not everything's the same as it used to be. So take everything on board, but well, no, listen to everything, but don't take everything on board.
And I think as well, everyone's got the opportunity to know everything about everything now. Whereas before, older people, like I said, you're only being given the information that you're being given. Whereas now, if you want to learn about anything, you can go on YouTube and type it in and learn everything about it. So I'm saying younger minds, there's a lot of more smart. There's a lot more smarter people now.
I would say younger minds as well.
Pardon?
Because I would say younger minds as well. I agree with you, Louis, because like the older mindset, it's like this Stone Age mind living in the digital world, if you get me.
Do you think that in talking about mindsets, do you think that older people's mindsets can change? Because personally, for me, I think that not everyone, but most people's mindsets can't change. So I personally think the solution to racism is time, and as we go through the generations, it will just reduce and reduce and reduce.
100%.
Then again, you have the media. I don't know what the word is. They're misleading and making racism sound bad. For example, then we were having that whole part of like all the terrorist attacks. They blamed it on all Muslims. They said nothing else. They said, "Oh, these Muslims are doing that." They're not, blaming you, like pinpointing it, like specifically. Like I can walk down the street right now and I'll get flicked off for being called a Paki terrorist. That's happened in the past, but I don't talk about that to anyone because that's what they think. It don't hurt me, but it could hurt other people.
I'll tell you what, yeah. Everything we've been saying, like up to this point, yeah, is like the media can control this. You can get all this information from the media. Like younger minds are like influenced by the media. I feel like the media has a very, very, very big influence on everything that's going on. Maybe arguably a bigger influence than the royal family has. Because at the end of the day, like the media has changed something really big. Because obviously, like Lewis was emphasizing earlier, like this is the royal family we're talking about, yeah. And like a new baby was being brought into the family. Like things are about to change, and then the media has just stopped it all, like literally because of everything they were saying, yeah. And now I don't know, and anyone can get any sort of information of the media and then take everything the wrong way. So like I feel like they're gonna start normalizing all of this racism, and it's gonna get a lot worse from here. because at this point, if it's okay to just like bully someone off like that, then it's just okay to like racism is just okay at that point, then, isn't it? But everyone thinks it's going to be okay because the media made it so. At the end of the day, anyone can jump on here and say whatever they want. And the bigger the platform is, the more people who are saying that, the more people who are against Meghan and Harry, yeah, then that means, oh yeah, then another person can come on and just get on it, and then it's just gonna grow and grow and grow. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It has a big influence.
In terms of changing people's mindsets, I think you can to a point, personally. I'll think of an example. My granddad's 85 years old, or thereabouts. I don't know his exact age, but it's thereabouts. His views from when he was a kid, or from when he was a young adult, in his 20s maybe, are very different to what they are now, and that's due to the developing world and everything else. So I think in terms of changing someone's mindset, if they are educated, and as they get more educated, their opinions can change.
I feel like it's the way you go about it to change someone's mindset, because at the end of the day, everybody's different. So I feel like if somebody didn't go through the experience of actually being under that sort of like whatever it is, then they won't actually change how they view it. So if we're on about changing people's mindsets, it's just down to whoever it is really, which is why I was saying the media has a big influence, because the media can change the way that people think. And like if we're talking about like the older generation, maybe like speaking stereotypically, they don't use as much like electronics as we do, so they might not know that much about what's going on in the world. So if they grew up with a childhood that they were like part of a racist background or whatever, maybe their views might not change, if you see what I'm getting at.
We're talking about younger mindsets. Like, as I agree with that, I feel like our generation is working more towards like more social change, as in what we believe on social media and what the media is saying, and about like racism. Like, I feel like more minorities are being more welcomed instead of like being suppressed, as in what they were in the past.
Yeah,
like
generation.
Fair enough. There will be people who think they are better than others because of race or religion, but everyone's all the same. Our generation is the one which is welcoming more people from different races, like ethnic background and everything, because they are humans too.
All right, then, to kind of finalise, after having this long 58-minute conversation, I'm sure we've expressed all our different opinions fully, but definitely we have voiced all our opinions to some point. I still personally support Meghan and Harry, but that mindset might change completely. But at this current time, I'm really supportive of them and what they're doing. If any of you want to share kind of any final thoughts, I'd say now is the time to do so before we wrap up.
I agree with you, Nathan.
So do I.
Yeah, definitely.
So do I.
Hopefully they can just get back together and it's not a sort of versus thing.
Yeah, I just feel like things have been taken out of context with other people getting involved, as like all of this has been publicized. So yeah, I support them, and I hope everything like works out at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'd say to conclude just
Right.
basically that. Oh, sorry. The
Go on,
energy,
go on, Sam.
like all this energy that we're using to like pick sides and like who's right, who's wrong, all this like time and energy we could be using to educate and like spend it on better things. Like, I'm not saying this isn't better things, but what I mean is when we could be sitting all day like trying to fix older generations or other people's opinions, but what matters is moving forward and how we're gonna make it more accessible for future generations to come. So I feel like we need to focus on shaping a better world rather than trying to point fingers at who did what and who said what. So yeah.
I agree
Right.
with that.
Shall we wrap up then? Thank you for joining us on this episode of ThriveCasters. Our first live episode, I think it's gone quite well. Any feedback from any of the viewers is much appreciated. In terms of socials, getting in touch with us, it's at OnPointWM on Instagram. And previous episodes of this podcast can be listened to on Spotify and YouTube. We're called ThriveCasters. Anything else you guys want to say at all? No? All right then. Peace.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at OnPointWM and #ThriveCasters. Join us next time for more conversations that matter